Hello, I'm Mrs. Jansen, and today we're going to draw a giraffe together. First, let's look at this giraffe and notice how tall it is. A giraffe is the tallest animal on earth. Let's look at the spots. Notice how the spots are interesting shapes and sizes. We see larger spots and smaller spots. Our vocabulary word today is organic shapes. These are shapes found in nature that have natural, unpredictable edges. That word unpredictable means we don't know what the edges are going to do. The edges change. Let's look at the image that shows 6 organic shapes. Notice how the edges are different. Now let's look closely at the leaf. And as we look at the edges of the leaf, notice how that zigzag line is smaller and closer together in parts of the edge of the leaf and larger and farther away in other edges of the leaf. The edges are unpredictable. They change. Now let's look closely at the giraffe spots. Notice these edges. Notice how they change. The edges look wavy or bumpy. They're definitely different than each other. The spots on a giraffe are an organic shape. There's a lot of interesting facts about giraffes, and we're going to just talk about a few today. Baby giraffes are called calves and are about 6 feet tall when they're born. Every giraffe has its own spot pattern. There are no two giraffes exactly the same. Giraffes can grow up to 20 feet tall, and you already know they're the tallest animal on Earth. The horns are called ossicones. They have long tongues that often look dark blue, purple, or black. They can sleep standing up. So now it's time for us to draw a giraffe together. Please have your paper and pencil ready. You'll need crayons for later. You'll see the screen change so that we can draw together. So today we're going to place our paper portrait style. That means that it's vertical, the tall way, or up and down. I'd like you to place the hand that you don't write or draw with on your paper. And as you draw the giraffe today, I'd like you to know that the giraffe that you draw should be about the same size as your hand or even larger. I also want you to remember that before we draw the first line, that we all draw differently. No one draws the same. That's one of the very best things about art. So, above the center of the paper, or above halfway up the paper, we're going to draw a curved line that might remind you of the letter U. And now in the open part of the top of the U, we're going to add a curved vertical line. And then we're going to add another curved vertical line. And now about a finger space away, we're going to add a third vertical line. And notice how it's curved. And lastly, we'll add a fourth curved vertical line. We're drawing the horns or the ossicones of the giraffe. At the top of the horns or the ossicones, they have hair or fur. So we're going to add some zigzag lines. You can add a second layer if you'd like to. Now we're going to go in between the horns and add a curved line like a rainbow. Now we're going to go to the horn on the right, and we're going to place our pencil where the head of the giraffe would continue. So notice how we can follow this line, keep our pencil above the paper, and then we can hold it above the horn. We can place our pencil on the other side. We're going to add a curved line that goes out and then down. We're drawing the top of the ear of the giraffe. Let's do the same thing on the left side. Let's look at the top of the giraffe's head, that curved like a rainbow. We're going to follow or pick up our pencil and follow it across the horn, and then we're going to place it on the other side and add another curve like a rainbow for the other ear. Now we're going to go to that first ear we started drawing on the right, and at the bottom of this ear, let's add a curve like a smile that goes back to the head. Now let's go to the ear on the left, and at the end of this ear, let's add a curved line like a smile that goes back to the head. So now we've got the head of the giraffe drawn. Let's add eyes and the nostrils. Let's start the eyes with 2 ovals. And inside the ovals, you can decide how you'd like to draw the eyes. I'm going to add 2 smaller ovals and shade these or color these in with my pencil. And you've got another choice to make. Would you like to add eyelashes? You don't have to if you don't want to, but if you'd like to, you can. Notice how you'll add them with curved lines. Now, eyelashes are important for us and for many creatures because they act like a filter. They keep the dust and the dirt out of our eyes. Let's give this giraffe nostrils so that it can breathe, those openings in the nose that we breathe through, with 2 small ovals. Now we're ready for the neck, and the neck is a really long part of the giraffe. Let's start under the ear and add a diagonal line that goes down. And then let's go almost to the bottom of that U, and at least a finger space or more away, let's add a second diagonal line. So we've got the neck of the giraffe, and now we're going to go to the bottom of that first diagonal line, and let's start with a curve like a smile. And now we're going to keep our pencil down, that curve like a smile. Now we're going to change it. Keep your pencil down, curve like a rainbow. So we just drew the back of the giraffe. So remember, we started curve like a smile and then changed it to the curve of a rainbow. Now our eraser is a tool. So anytime when we're working, If you want to change things, make sure you don't erase the whole thing. You can just add to it and then decide what you'd like to take away. So notice how I drew this diagonal line and then I added these curved lines next to it. I've decided I like to take this away. Now I'm going to go across. So look what I'm going to do. I'm going to follow my finger across and I'm going to put my pencil line down and I'm going to add a curved line that might remind you of a stretched out C. And now I'm going to leave 2 finger spaces away and I'm going to add a curved line like a smile. And notice that I've got about 2 finger spaces to the end of the giraffe's body. Now I'm going to continue this line. I'm adding the tail, and next to it, a very small space away, I'm going to add a second curved line. Now I'm going to add the tail with what looks like an upside down raindrop. And then we can add lines inside for texture. Now I'm going to go to the bottom of the tail at the top and I'm going to add another curved line. And notice how that curved line starts to be vertical or go down. I'm going to bring my paper up so that you can see better. Now I'm going to add a small curved line that might remind you of a stretched out backward C. And then at the bottom of that, I'm going to add a straight vertical line. Now I'm going to go to the body of the giraffe and I'm going to add a curved line that looks more sideways. And then across from this backward C, I'm going to add a forward facing stretched out C, about a finger space away. Now I'm going to bring this curved line closer to that backward stretched out C, and then I'm going to add a small vertical line. Let's go underneath this curved out C and add a vertical line for the front part of the leg. And at the bottom, let's add a curved line like a smile. And now let's add 2 vertical lines and another curved line like a smile for the hoof. And the hooves of a giraffe are split, so we can add a line in the center. Now remember how we add lines? We can add them right on top and then we can take away later. So I already know that I want to take this line away. And now we've got the back leg of the giraffe and we're going to draw the other back leg, the one that is behind the body of the giraffe. So we're going to start underneath the giraffe. We're going to add a curved line that looks similar to the curved line on the first back leg we drew. And now when we get close to where the knee is, we're going to add another curved line that might remind you of a stretched out C. And at the bottom of that stretched out C, we're going to add a vertical line that goes all the way down to the bottom where the first back leg was drawn. At the end of this, let's make a curved line like a smile. And then let's make another curved line like a smile that's about the same distance from the bottom as the one that we drew before it for the hoof. Remember, the hoof is split, so we can add a line in the center. Now it's time to go to the front of the giraffe. I'm going to take a line away. I'm going to take this part of the diagonal line away. And now I'm going to work on the front leg on this side of the body. I'm going to add a vertical line that stops about the same place that that curved line for the knees is on the back legs. Now I'm going to add a curved line that looks like a stretched out backward C and a straight vertical line. And as I draw that vertical line, I'm going to follow with my finger across the bottom of the other legs and bring that vertical line down to the same place. Now I'm going to compare the thickness of the legs, and they're about a finger space away, and I'm going to add similar distance between this vertical line. So draw the second vertical line for this front leg, and now add that stretched out forward facing C curved line. And then underneath it, add that vertical line. Now when we get to the bottom, add that curved line like a smile. And then we can follow with our finger across, and about the same place, we can add another curved line like a smile. And add the line in the center for where the hooves split. So now I'm going to continue this curved line to the leg I just drew. And now what I need to do is make sure that this curved line for the stomach looks like it would meet that. So I'm going to use my pencil. I'm going to go to that curved line and I'm going to bring it to about the same place. And notice how I added that on top, and then I take away the part that I don't want. So now it's time to draw the other front leg, and the second front leg we draw is behind the giraffe's body. And we only have to draw one side of it because the other side is covered by the first front leg that we drew. So about the same distance apart, we're going to add a straight vertical line. And when we get close to where that curve is, we're going to add that stretched out forward facing C curve. And underneath that, a vertical line that goes down to the bottom, close to where the other vertical line went down. At the end, let's add that curved line like a smile, and then let's add another curved line like a smile to the top of the hoof. Let's add the vertical line in the center for the split of the hooves. So now let's look at the giraffe you've drawn. And if there's any line that you want to change, you can do that. I'm looking at the neck. And as I follow that down, I think I'd like this to be more of a curved line. I'm going to add a curved line to the top of mine. So see how I add the line first, and then I take it away. The line that I don't want. So we've got our giraffe drawn. And we want to make sure that our giraffe has a lot of interesting shapes and sizes for spots. So we're going to all draw this differently, but remember that the edges are unpredictable. They do different things. I'm going to start on the ear, and I think I'm going to draw a wavy line, and we only see part of the spot. And then I'm going to go to the other ear and add another wavy line. Notice how I connect it to the line. I'm going to add a spot in the other direction. Now I'm going to add spots on the neck. So notice how the lines are wavy. And now it looks like the head of the giraffe is overlapping or covering the spot on the neck. So we can start the shapes on the edges, or they can be on the body of the giraffe. Everybody's going to make different choices. Remember, some are larger, some are smaller. And we're all going to continue adding spots. And everyone's will look different. Make sure that you leave spaces in between your spots so that you are able to color in between them. Remember, every giraffe has a different pattern. No two giraffes look the same. And as we add spots, we're all going to add them differently. Be thinking about those unpredictable edges, or those edges that change. So make sure as you draw the spots that the organic shape you draw is large enough that you can color it in. And don't forget to add spots on the front legs. So now that you've got the spots drawn on your giraffe, let's make this giraffe look like it's standing on the ground instead of like it's floating in the air. So we're going to start at the edge of the paper. We're going to add from the edge of the paper to the giraffe a horizontal line. And then we're going to pick up our pencil. We're going to follow all the way across the body of the giraffe. And then we're going to place the pencil down on the other side and add a second horizontal line. Remember to pick it up when you come to the tail and continue it on the other side. So this will be the land that the giraffe is standing on. And later you'll be deciding what that land looks like. Will you have grass growing, or will you just see different patches of dirt? Now, giraffes love to eat the leaves off of trees. So now we're going to draw a tree, and we're going to start with the letter Y. So first, let's start at the horizontal line. And now at the top of this vertical line that we just drew, we're going to add 2 diagonal lines. This might remind you of the letter Y. Now we're going to go back to the bottom of the Y, and we're going to add another vertical line next to it. And let's go to this side and add another vertical line. So if you've drawn the vertical line and it comes to the ear, make sure you just pick up your pencil and you don't draw through the ear or on top. So we added the lines next to the bottom of the Y to show the thickness of the tree. And now we're going to add another diagonal line on each side. So remember, we can take some lines away. I'm going to take away part of the vertical line that just went into the branches of the tree. And then this first vertical line that we drew for the bottom of the Y, I'm going to use my eraser and erase part of it. Make it look more like a dashed line. A different dashed line than we see on the street. Now let's add branches. We can start with lowercase y's in different directions. And those lowercase y's are really diagonal lines. Now we're going to go back to each Y we drew and add a line next to each diagonal lines to make the branch look thicker. So every diagonal line you drew needs another line next to it. And it's up to you how many branches you add on your tree. And I'm going to continue this diagonal line all the way up. Now we're going to add the leaves of the tree. Now we don't have to draw every single leaf. We can show the leaves of the tree with a curved line or wavy line. I'm going to draw a wavy line from the edge of the paper, and I'm going to pick it up when it gets to the tree trunk, and I'm going to put it down on the other side. And I'm going to pick it up when I get to anything I've drawn, like the giraffe. I'm going to pick it up and put it down on the other side, and it can be unpredictable. It can change. And inside this organic shape, we can add other unpredictable wavy or zigzag lines to show the texture of the leaves on a tree. Now we can go back to the tree trunk and add marks that show texture. You pick up our pencil and we're adding a lot of different dash lines that look very different than the dash lines on the street. Now let's add some dash lines that go in a diagonal direction on the larger limbs or branches of the tree. Everyone's is going to look different, and there's a lot of different trees in nature, so nobody's will look the same. Now you get to decide if you'd like to add the sun, and it's up to you. And if you'd like to add it, you can draw the sun any way you'd like. I'm going to start with a circle and then add some diagonal lines for the rays of the sun. And if you'd like to, you can add a different design or line inside the sun that you draw. So we've created a lot of different textures, and we've used a lot of interesting lines, and we've created a lot of different organic shapes. Let's go to the land, and if you'd like it to look like there's grass, you can add zigzag lines. Those zigzag lines can be different. They don't all have to be the same. And that can show clumps of grass. And now it's up to you. This is your artwork. If you'd like to add any flowers, you can do that. If you've decided you'd like to add patches of dirt, just go ahead and add some different wavy lines close together. And you don't have to have a patch of dirt around or underneath every bunch of grass. So now that you've finished drawing your giraffe, now it's time to talk about adding color. So we know an artist doesn't always have the goal to make their art look exactly like things look in real life. Artists like to use their own ideas. So when you color the giraffe today, you can decide if you'd like to color the spots, the colors that remind you of real life, like the photos we saw of the giraffes, or maybe you'd like to color the spots your favorite color. Here's just one example. And you can see that I decided to color the spots purple. And then I colored the main part of the giraffe yellow. I used a dark brown on the tops of the ossicones and the mane. And notice the tree trunk and the branches. I used a dark brown, and then I used more than one color on top of another. That's called blending. And I used the green and the lighter green. When you add color to different areas like the sun, you can also consider using more than one color. I used yellow and orange. As you're coloring the sky, think about moving your crayon in a horizontal direction. Make sure to pick up your crayon when you come to something else you've drawn. And as you color, move your crayon in the same direction across the paper, and make sure you don't have any really large, open, empty white spaces. And then when you look at the land, you can see in this example, I decided to use the brown to show some of the patches of dirt. And then I used a blending of the dark green or the regular green and the light green. In this example, I also added flowers. And I know in our drawing that we still have to draw the mane. So we can draw the mane with diagonal lines. We can just put them in lightly because you're going to add them mostly in crayon. So I hope you've enjoyed drawing a giraffe together, and you get to use your own creativity and your own ideas as you add color to your artwork. I look forward to making art with you again soon.